right, let's rock and roll. Pretzels. Another awesome recipe that we discovered, and it's similar to our pizza dough and all of our other doughs. It's in our book, Baking with Steel, which is amazing. All of our recipes that we cover in here. And we tweak things, by the way. So we'll be making the recipe that's in this book. I don't think there's any tweaks, is there?
No.
No, pretty much standard. Like all of our pizza doughs and our breads, almost always doing a 24-hour ferment. And that's just cool because it's a nice way to break down the glutens a little bit. I don't know what page the pretzels are on. What page that's on? I did. Oh, yeah, it's a breakfast. Not breakfast, is it? Can you have pretzels for breakfast?
Heck yeah.
Yeah, man. Let's see. Oh, here we go. All right, pretzels. Soft pretzels. And someone asked a question a few minutes ago about the flour. So we're going to use all-purpose flour. In fact, I want to shout out to Bob's Red Mill organic flour. This stuff is awesome. They sent me a bunch last week. We made a pizza dough with it. I actually love it for pizza, but I also love it for English muffins and for today, pretzels. So super pumped about that. So organic, all-purpose flour is becoming more and more available at the markets these days, which is awesome, right, for all of us. Yeast, I'm still having a hard time seeing yeast. Have you seen much yeast? It's a little bit more difficult and challenging, but you can still get it. And if you guys have any need of any of those things, flours, yeast, send us a message. Send it to me or info@Baking Steel or ask a question here. We'll send you some links. We'll link it up. Like all of our doughs, we need to measure all of our ingredients with a scale. And I'm guessing these are not in short supply. I'm sure these are available. This is a company called My Way, and it's on Amazon. You can go to their website. If you can't, just look up scales because they're like $25, $30 for a good one. I also use a micro scale, which really dives into like 1/100th of a gram, which is important when you're using small amounts of yeast. And that's like a pocket size, like this. So this is a micro scale. See, it's tiny, but I could literally, and I'll show you guys here, I can take a little bit of flour, just like this, and put it on there, and it's gonna measure. That's 0.39 of grams of yeast. So it really, this dials it in amazingly well, okay? Micro scale. For our pretzels, we have all-purpose flour. Someone asked about spelt. If I was gonna add a little twist to this recipe, if I use 500 grams of, 550? 550 grams of all-purpose, I might take out and only put 525 in. It's 500. Yeah, okay, so I might put 475 all-purpose and 25 grams of spelt. So I'm just gonna be adding a tiny bit of texture and different taste, earthiness to that mixture. And experiment with different flours. I might use half all-purpose and half bread flour. And that might be 50-50. Or just, so again, experiment with different ideas. There's no right or wrong answer. And you might find that the hydration level might need to be raised to higher or lower based on what you use. I hope that makes sense. In other words, experiment. And who cares? If you mess up, you mess up. It's definitely worth a shot. I can't tell you how many times we've messed up in this test kitchen. At least once a day. So go crazy. All right, so this recipe, everything's been pre-measured. Flour, I'm actually using a little bit of sugar. Cane sugar, unbleached, kind of important. Let me get a whisk. So I find the best way to do when I'm adding ingredients is I add my sugar in and then I whisk it, right? And I add my yeast in dry and then I whisk it. And let's talk about hydrating the yeast. This is active dry yeast. And some recipes call to put it in the water to hydrate it first. And that helps kind of wake it up and bring it to life faster. Because we're fermenting this dough for 24 hours in the water, we don't feel as though that's necessary. If I was gonna make these pretzels in 2 hours, then maybe I wanna hydrate the yeast first. I hope that makes sense to you. So as I'm adding my ingredients, I'm literally just whisking. Salt is sea salt. That's about 12 grams, and I'm just whisking it in. You know, I didn't add avocado oil. So in our recipe, in our original recipe in baking with steel, we use butter and we use melted butter. The best time I find to add that is right to the water, but we're switching it out. We're going vegan. So we've been using avocado oil for our English muffins and really, really like the taste. So this is from Whole Foods. It's not cheap. This is like $10, but it's a healthy alternative, and it makes some things, you know, turns it to vegan if you care. But I've been really pleased with this product, avocado oil. So I'll show you how I do it. So I didn't add it into my water here. So I'll put my water onto my scale. I'll fire it up. I like to add all the liquids together. So I think we call for 50 grams. That's fine. I'll do 50 grams. I'm gonna put it right into my water. So my scale is zeroed out now. So I'm just pouring in 50 grams. Boom, almost there. Boom. All right, so there's my oil in my water. I literally will take this and just pour it in. Will you grab me that rubber spatula?
Yeah. Red one?
The gray one. Yeah. Pour it right into my mixture here. And now I'm just gonna literally just lightly mix this. And this is, again, a very wet dough. I'm working in this big bowl here. I don't know if you can see, but it doesn't make my counter so messy. But I'm gonna do that anyway, I think. I could take this and I'm gonna put my hand in here and just kind of knead it all together. I'm not taking it out in the counter, so don't make a mess. Isn't that pretty smart? And if I don't have I want to put a timer on myself, I'll do this for about 2 or 3 minutes. I'm just pressing it down so there's no dry clumps of flour. Can you see what I'm doing here? No dry clumps of flour in the mixture. And I do this for about 2 minutes. Make one big ball of dough. It's sticky. I know that. It's really sticky. And then what I'll do is, the nice thing about these Cambro containers is that I got a lot of flour in my hands. Chef, want to come over and say hi while I wash my hands?
Heck yeah.
All right, Chef's gonna come over and say hi to you guys while I wash my hands. But I'm gonna cover this up now and let it proof. You want to tell them what I'm doing from there, Chef?
Yes.
It'll be right there. 1 second, guys.
What is up, guys? We're gonna take this. We're gonna cover this and let it proof overnight. 24-hour fermentation. Kind of like Andrew said, yeast will get active. You don't need to activate it before, and kind of go from there. And the good news is we have it staged. That we made a recipe yesterday for you guys, and we'll get to that right now. Portioning off into a good-sized pretzel. Back at it.
So we just literally just covered this up. 24 hours. So here's the scoop. It is 11 o'clock. I'm going to leave this out at room temperature until bedtime or maybe dinner time. I will then put this into the fridge. So it's going to almost double in size. You can see it there. This one will just kind of spread out on the bottom. I'm going to proof that for 24 hours to 12 hours at room temperature, maybe 10 hours at room temp. And then the rest cold, because we find when we're working with our dough, it's much easier to work with when it's cold. So at some point in your fermentation, you want to end cold. I guess that's not at some point, that's at the end. But follow me? So we did this last night. We made a dough. I've actually already removed some of this because we baked off a few pretzels for class today. But this is going to have a really nice aroma to it. Can you smell that, Chef?
Over here?
Yeah, you can smell it
Absolutely.
over there. This dough has been proofing or fermented for 24 hours. And we find that's going to be really nice to make these pretzels. It's all-purpose flour, so we don't even want to extend that to 2 or 3 days because it's not a really strong flour, so it might break down too much. But 24 hours, perfect. Okay. With us so far? Let's pause there. Any questions, Chef? Let's go through some questions there.
Yeah, I've gone through a bunch. Some people asking about beer instead of water.
What a great idea. Yes, we have done that before. In fact, that's a great substitution for pretzels because kind of beer and pretzels go together. Then you can actually drink the same beer with the pretzel, right? That's good thinking.
Other oils like olive oil or grapeseed instead of butter.
Yeah, so basically, essentially you're adding a fat. So it's going to do the same thing. It's going to kind of lighten the dough up a little bit, soften it just a bit. That oil is going to kind of work its way around through that network structure and soften it. I'm not sure I've tried olive oil in there, but I've tried. Have you? I don't think I have.
I haven't done olive. Sometimes it gets bitter when you cook olive oil too long, though.
That's a good point. It can get a little bitter. My recommendation would be avocado oil.
Right? Pretty neutral, but like
yeah, it's very neutral. Yeah, it's really neutral. But great question.
Can the recipe survive fermentation in the fridge for 48 hours?
Yes, totally. I would test it at 24 hours, but we're making pretzels. We're not stretching dough out. It doesn't need to be a thin sheet of dough. And you'll see how we make these in a second. So yeah, I think that would be fine.
Will you punch it down before refrigerating? No,
I will not. Literally take the container and just throw it in the fridge. I'm going to punch it down now when I make my pretzel. That's the nice thing. These things can be made in like a snap. They're pretty simple.
Could you switch bread flour out for AP flour? Pros and cons.
Yeah, I mean, we used AP flour for today's batch. Bread flour is a good substitution, sure. In fact, oftentimes when we make our pretzels not when we make for Instagram or for a post, we will use our pizza dough because our pizza dough is made without fat and with bread flour, so they're tougher, a little tougher, but the kids still eat them. So that's always my sign if things are good or not.
If you use beer, same temperature as the water?
Yeah, room temp, totally. Yeah, I would definitely go room, especially if you're gonna do a 24-hour fermentation. You probably want to use really cold beer. That might really slow things down, but just keep it at room temperature. It's a great idea.
When would you use bread flour versus all-purpose if you don't have all-purpose?
Yeah, exactly. If I'm making, here's a scoop. If I'm making English muffins, pretzels, and I don't have AP, I'm just using bread flour. That's fine. There's no really right or wrong answer there. It's all what you can get. In fact, I just got AP in this week. I haven't had it for a while.
How long out of the refrigerator before you start forming pretzels?
I mean, I think you just go.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hesitate to pull it out and start your work. You're gonna need to have your oven preheated, so maybe that's a good time to remove your dough. That takes an hour. You also need to boil water, soda water. That takes 10 minutes. So an hour is a good mise en place. Right? Have all your stuff together. Anybody else?
All right, now you can go.
You good? All right, good. So we're gonna make pretzels. Again, this is what we recommend. We say remove the dough. Oven's been preheating. Put the water boil. We're gonna so I just switched the oven to boil. We got soda water already in there, right, Chef? Don't we have soda water?
Yeah.
And we're just boiling that. It's already lukewarm. We made a few pretzels. Boil that. Now I'm gonna get my dough ready, and I want to make sure everything's set up here for you guys. You can see what we're doing. All right, I'm gonna change the screen if that works. Hope that works for you guys. Is that good? All right, so this dough, what do we say, 140 grams.
Yep.
It's sticky, right? It's okay, it's sticky. Flour up your hands a little bit. Okay, and now I'm gonna make this into 140 grams. Let's see how I do. I'm gonna cut one off. I like using metal. Ready? 140. 157. Not bad. I'm gonna trim a little bit off. We'll just make one for now. All right, so now take the dough, and all I'm gonna do, and the kids would love this exercise, by the way. It's really fun. I'm gonna just kind of fold this in half, fold it again, okay? And now I'm gonna do is just, I'm gonna roll, practice my rolling technique. So lightly flour up around you, and I might have too much flour here, but I'm just gonna lightly just kind of roll this out. And it's starting from the center, working on my way to the ends. You see it's starting to form. And I'm gonna probably make this about 2-3 feet long.
Are we using the baking steel bands today? Just received mine.
Oh, nice. You know what? It's actually a great idea. Well, yeah, because you can get the Pretzel. In fact, we're gonna try that. I have a bunch of them, so I should put them on. In case you guys haven't seen, I'm gonna pause here. Commercial break. Where's the logo? I don't know if you can see that. You see that? Baking steel. There are wristbands. Take my watch off.
There's requests. What are your opinions on the Whoop?
Oh, actually, you know what? I wear the Whoop. I wear it every day. I love it a lot, actually. It really helps me, one, keep my body moving, but two, it measures so many different elements of my daily activities, including sleep, that really help me personally. I love it. It's a great watch. I wish I had a timer on it, because I gotta wear, if I go for a run or something, I need to wear a different watch, which is kind of a pain. So I wish they had a clock. Or maybe I should chill out and not care what time it is if I go running. But anyway, you see how I'm doing this? And I don't care if this is imperfect, by the way. I actually prefer that it's not perfect. It's got, but I want it to be somewhat consistent so it cooks pretty well, but don't be so hard on yourself. Okay, so I'm kind of just press. See how it's kind of, yeah, it's about 3 feet,
2.5 feet.
2.5 feet. So now what I'm gonna do, can you see this well? I'm gonna take this and cross it over. And I cross it over again. You see that? And now I'm just gonna pick these edges up and just kind of bring them over to the side. You can see this. Got my pretzel, almost. You can't really see it that way, but it's basically, if I turn it that way. Let me see if you can see. Can you see that? Let me go like this. Need some kind of background. It's beautiful. Hello there. See that? How's it look? Good? Now what I'm gonna do is take this pretzel. I'm gonna do one more for you too. I'll put this aside. Let's do one right now while I got you guys here. Take another one, measure it. I'm gonna put this into, see if I can get 140 again. 173, not very good. Here we go. So now, fold, and now roll. So I'm gonna kind of just roll this like a cigar. Start from the center and work your way to the edges. And I'm pressing down lightly too. Be patient, right? Press out at the same time. So I'm kind of starting at the center and pressing out. Maybe for fun, I won't make this one as big. I'll make it smaller. Change the consistency a little bit. Be cool picture photo opportunity, right? This dough feels amazing. Remember to keep your surface lightly floured. It helps with the stickiness. There we go, right?
You know what I always think of with pretzels is the Auntie Anne's place inside of like
The malls.
The malls. Yeah.
Yeah, have you guys been there? Auntie Anne's? Always a line. Don't they have these? They have something else there too. Something cinnamon
and sugar. Yeah, cinnamon sugar.
Cinnamon. Oh, we should have did that. I didn't think of that. Cinnamon and sugar pretzels. So they would just take that. In fact, that's a good. they would take
The boiled pretzel. Yeah.
the boiled pretzel, and what they would do, and listening, sorry, I don't look at you as I'm talking, but the boiled pretzel, and when it comes out, they would kind of some cinnamon sugar. They would toss it in there with what else? That's it. That's it. It would make it sweet. It's pretty awesome. Anyway, my roll job here. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing again. I'm gonna see if I can do it like a mirror. Cross, cross, cross again, and then bring these edges up. I've got these like kind of holes. You can see that? Really thin in one spot, but it's a pretzel, right? Gonna be a cutie. They boil this. You guys can see me now. I'm gonna literally just take this, put it in the boiling water. We'll do 2 at a time. Boom and boom. So we're gonna boil these, and then what we'll do, in fact, then we're gonna bake them in the oven. And then we've actually staged some pretzels for you guys so you can see the final result. You have to wait here for 20 minutes with us.
Jalapeno pretzels.
Yes, that's a great idea. So yeah, I guess this kind of goes with like the old
Kind of pizza. You can kind of make whatever you want.
yeah, just do it. It's like it's a bread. It's got a little sweetener in it anyway. Use a little sugar, but kind of do what you want with it. Like you could put jimmies on it and frosting. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer. In fact, Fresh Chef's getting some cinnamon and sugar together so we can make a sweeter pretzel. So you boil these for literally about a minute in the soda water.
How much baking soda and how much water?
It's about a
3 tablespoons, half a gallon maybe?
half gallon of water. There's no real right or wrong answer here. This pot is filled up about halfway, and we put a tablespoon of baking soda in there. That's it. You could flavor the water too. You want to put some sugar in there or honey? Go to town. Be adventurous. There's no right or wrong answer. The soda water is going to give these things a little bit of a hardness on the outside, like the bagels. If you remember the bagel class, we did the same exact thing. So very similar. Oh, look at that. Nice. So, all right.
Sourdough pretzels, totally.
Sourdough pretzels, yeah. In fact, we might be doing a sourdough class next week, maybe. Thinking about it. So, got my sheet tray here. Let's remove these things. My thing just broke. Okay, it's cool. So now what I'll do, right? It's great. I'm going to take these. You can see them back here. Was our salt in there? We like big salt on one of them. So this is like big. What is this stuff? Just sea salt, big crystals. Because these things are wet, it's going to help adhere to the pretzel. So salt it up nice. This one, Craig brilliantly made some cinnamon and sugar. So we're gonna make a sweet pretzel here. Coat it on. You could add some raisins to this. You could do, literally anything. I've not had sweet pretzels before. Have you guys had sweet pretzels before? Anyway, oven now. Sheet tray. It goes right on top of my baking steel. You see this here? Right on top. That steel is going to blast heat right in through that sheet tray, making super crispy, which is, we bake these for 12 minutes. Always use a timer, okay? Let's fast forward 12 minutes. And I'm removing those, and you can see we have our pretzels. They're awesome. They're beautiful. These are all with salt. They got nice color on them. The back of them cooked beautifully. Awesomeness, right? It's even prettier. And they're all kind of unique. So get some mustard. What else would you dip these in?
Honey mustard.
Honey mustard. I'm down with that.
Green mustard.
Mustard, yellow mustard, any kind of mustard. Gouldens,
Yeah, a spice brown.
Yeah. What was that other one? Anyway, mustard, you get the deal. Get your beer, whatever you're gonna have. Dip these things in. They're gonna be delicious every single time. And that's it. That's pretzels. Basic, simple, and awesome. Let's get to some
Cheese
questions.
sauce.
Yes.
Cheese sauce.
Let's melt some cheese and get some cheese sauce. That's a great idea.
Who makes that cool timer?
That's a great question because we're down to one. We had 3 of these and 2 of them are now broken. They're probably 2 years old.
At least.
They've been great, but we can't find this one. So we're actually we're shopping now for some timers. When we get a good one, we'll link it up. This is nice because it's magnetic, so it can go anywhere. And it's pretty simple touch. I don't think they're really well made, like waterproof wise. And I think that's what happens. They get wet and they kind of collapse, but we're getting more. Amazon or smalltimercompany.com. I don't know. You can find one. Anything else, you guys?
Baking sheet or parchment paper? Do you prefer one?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We used a Silipat on top of our inside of our sheet tray, and the water from the boiling of the mixture can get these things sticky. So maybe pat the bottom dry if you don't want it to stick. That will help a lot. The parchment works, sure.
What are baking steel bands and what do they do?
Great question. So the bands, essentially, can you see here? When I'm cooking, let's say this is my oven, and breads in particular, I don't want my bottom to get too hot. So if this was and this works for pretzels too, I'll take my band off, my baking steel band, and I'll put it on my hot steel, and I'll place my bread on top of it. Like a baguette might take 2 bands, right? But what that allows is airflow underneath to brown my breads even darker, to get a better crust on it without burning the bottom. These are specially made to withstand like 500 or 600 degrees and the baking steel that's hot. So they work awesome. And it's also good for cooling, by the way. I can just drop one down, take it out of the oven, place it on top. It's pretty cool. And the coolest thing is you just get to wear it. This. Show people you cool band, right? Anybody else? Beer cheese, I like that. It's a good idea.
If I had a stone and a steel in the same oven, what would you position them?
I would. That's a great question. I don't think the stone's going to give you much use other than, I don't know what it's going to do for you, to be honest.
Keep your second pizza warm? I don't know.
Yeah, it might keep your second pizza warm. But to be honest, like baking stones, like they stink. I mean, and I say that because I'm a steel guy. But secondly, they don't do anything. They don't really hold heat in. I haven't heard any arguments to say they're better than steel in any capacity. They can't do anything. So it's just something that somebody made years ago that goes in your oven and it gets hot, but they lose temperature really fast and they break, and they're only good for pizza or bread. That's all they can, and they're not even good for those things. So that's my spin on stones. I don't know what purpose it would serve you in your oven if you have a steel. I don't know.
Can you verbally go over the recipe again?
Yes. So for the ingredients to the pretzels, we use 500 grams of all-purpose flour, organic if you have it, 12 grams of sugar, cane sugar, 10 grams of fine sea salt or even coarse salt, 2 grams of active dry yeast, 350 grams of water, and 57 grams of either melted butter. In our case, we used avocado oil.
Amazing.
Anything else, you guys? Can baking steel be used in an outdoor pizza oven? Yes, totally. In fact, we have quite a few people using our steels outside. And what that does is it just, like it does inside your oven, it evens out the temperature. What you don't need to do is cook your oven at a super high temperature. You know, the baking steel strike zone is 500 to 600 degrees. That's it. You don't need more than that. at 500 degrees, it works like a stone does at 900 degrees. So keep that in mind.
Sourdough starter, what would you do?
I would substitute, I'm using 500 grams of flour and 350 grams of water. I would reduce the flour and water by 50 grams each and put in 100 grams of starter. That's simple. Simple math. Fuzzy math.
Where can I buy a baking steel and baking steel bands?
Yes, bakingsteel.com. So we are currently shipping every week. If you order today an original baking steel, it'll be shipping on Monday, likely next week. So you'll have it for Father's Day. The bands, the same thing. The bands are available at bakingsteel.com. And they come in 5-packs, 4-packs, 5-packs. Just like this. And they're great. They're cool. Anybody else?
Good. Bunch of thank yous.
Oh, you guys rock. And if you have any questions, first of all, I hope you enjoyed it. We'd love your feedback. Any special requests, let us know. If you like this, please share it with your friends. It's going to go up on YouTube shortly. We cannot wait. And enjoy the pretzels. Let us know. Take some pictures. Put us on. We're on Instagram, by the way, at Baking Steel. We're at Facebook at Baking Steel. Look for us. Tag us. #Baking Steel. And we will share your pictures. We love to see your creations. You guys are unbelievable. Thank you. We could not do this without you.